General, while we have you here, I'd like to ask you about what's happening now. President-elect Biden said yesterday that he's not worried about the transition, that they're able to do things just fine. But our own M. Javers has done some reporting that suggests that there is a problem if you get to the point where you can't do background checks at some point, where you can't put people in positions, and that back in 2000, there were some issues with the transition team going over to President Bush at that time, that they weren't able to get a lot of people put into the national intelligence positions that they had hoped for. And that could have caused some problems with 9/11 coming up not long after that. Are you worried about this transition at this point, or what happens with the challenges that are coming on this? Is our national security prepared?
Well, I had a great mentor over the years, General Jack Keane. I worked for him several different times, including in the great 101st Airborne Division when he was the commander and I was his ops officer. And he used to tell the battalion and brigade commanders that if you really love your unit, if you really care for it, you will suppress your ego. You'll let your successor into the organization before you even leave, before the change of command. Get out of your house so that your successor can move in, and even move out of the office so that your successor can move in there, say a day before the change of command ceremony, so that everything from there on out goes smoothly because, again, you deeply care about your unit. So my hope would be, obviously, that whatever legal challenges are raised will be resolved very expeditiously. It's completely ahistoric to imagine that somewhere from 6,000 to 7,000 votes would change as a result of this. But again, let it play through. But I don't understand why, in the meantime, actually, you can't still get on with a transition in terms of the time-consuming tasks, and you identified several of those. Background checks for those who will require the top clearances. So that, again, on the inauguration day at noon on January 20th, the new administration can step right in. You can have as seamless a transition as is possible.
General, it's Andrew Sorkin here. We had talked to Alex Azar yesterday, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, and asked him about whether his transition team relating to COVID, given that we have this raging pandemic, would speak with the other side, if you will, the Biden transition team. And the answer clearly was no. Are you suggesting that these folks do this without the blessing of the White House?
Well, obviously, they're not going to do it without the blessing of the White House. That has been clearly indicated. So one would hope that, again, if you really care for the country, or at the very least, exhaust these legal challenges as quickly as is absolutely possible. Ideally by early next week, and so that you can then get on with this. The Biden team announced their various transition teams just yesterday, I believe it was, all of the different departments and agencies and so forth. They're ready to go. And by the way, I'm nonpartisan and don't favor either party. But I do favor the country. And I do believe that we should enable the incoming team to have as smooth a transition as is absolutely possible for the good of the country.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.